If you ever felt stuck, like you were meant for more, but you didn't know how to get started, well, this is the podcast for you, because there was a time in my life where I felt the exact same way. But my journey didn't start out with confidence by any means, and I did not have it all together. It literally started from the ground up, and there were a lot of times where I had to start over and over and over. And so I'm here today to share with you guys my story. So let's start from the beginning. Guys, I didn't start out as a business owner. As a matter of fact, I graduated from Stockton, and I graduated with a BA in communications, broadcasting journalism, which is so weird because I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do when I was a college student. This is my dream, to be doing this. So it's kind of crazy how that many years, here I am. I'm sitting in front of you guys doing a podcast. But anyway, but with that degree, I did learn marketing and advertising and all the stuff that comes with a communications degree. And with that said, I ended up landing myself a job with a newspaper in 2007 when the newspaper industry was dying. But what made it interesting is that I didn't know that me working for that newspaper gave me the tools on how to run a business. I didn't even think I wanted to run a business. I just knew that working in a newspaper industry at 22, 23 years old was just not in my wheelhouse, but it paid the bills. I was there, I was doing the thing, working my 9 to 5. And during this time, I was building my family. I actually got pregnant when I was about 25 years old and gained an insane amount of weight. And after I had my daughter, I knew I had to take care of myself. I wanted to be a good example, not just for her. I mean, she's an infant. She doesn't know any better. But I wanted to really take my health and fitness more serious. So I actually started out doing 2 things. One, taking care of my nutrition, which I joined Weight Watchers. And then the second was I started taking Zumba classes. And the Zumba classes were held at where I worked. And it was just convenient. I'd get done work, I would get changed, and then I would join class. And it was probably like 3 days a week. And I adapted to it naturally. And a lot of people would say to me, you should really learn how to be a Zumba instructor. You should do it. You'd be great. You'd be awesome. And I'm like, heck, why not? Okay, let's do it. So I became a Zumba instructor. And then I took over that class at my workplace. Now I was teaching the classes. And it was insane. And it was so much fun. And I just started to become very confident in the sense of an instructor, because then that led me to more opportunities where I started teaching more classes outside of my workplace. So fast forward, I'm teaching Zumba, I'm working my 9 to 5, I'm a mom and I'm raising my family. And then I get pregnant with child number 2. And that was the moment that I realized I got to be a stay-at-home mom, because I had 2 kids who were young, and putting them through daycare didn't make sense career-wise. And so I had to stay home. And that was a very uncomfortable feeling for me. Very uncomfortable, because I couldn't bear the fact of I'm not making my own money. And I hated that. I did not want to be dependent on my husband at the time. And I just felt this natural, like I have to still contribute somehow, and not just as a mom, but financially too. Like that's just who I am. So again, I have to take my health and fitness serious. I'm back into working out, eating right, because I just had baby number 2. And now my daughter's a little older, so she sees mom, and she's got to see, to me, it's like I got to be a role model for these kids. So I started doing a program. I started doing the Beachbody programs, and I was working out at home with DVDs. And then, I don't know, I just had this huge transformation, and people online were just like, what are you doing? Like, I need to know. Help me. Give me advice. You look amazing. I need to know, help me out. And I was just like, wow, I'm getting a lot of feedback. And I was approached to be a Beachbody coach. And they're like, well, listen, you can continue to share your story, but you can also make money off of it. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. Sign me up. I'm ready. Let's go. So I became a coach, and they do these rankings where they start you out as like, I don't know, it's like the base, and then you hit emerald, and then you hit sapphire, and then you hit ruby. I don't remember. And then the highest rank was diamond. And I reached diamond coach in like 3 months. So, and during this time, I'm building an online platform. I don't even know it. And I don't even know where to go with it. I just know that I'm just doing great. I'm making quick money. I love this. I love this for me. I never thought I would be a fitness coach. Never thought I would get a following. I'm like, but hey, I was a Zumba instructor, so it naturally goes hand in hand. So I was loving every minute of it. While I'm doing this, I'm like, this is when Instagram is starting to evolve. Instagram is starting to become a thing. So this is around 2015 about. This is when Instagram was like, you know, the grainy pictures, and everyone was doing what's that color? That sepia tone. Everyone was doing sepia tone. Like, this is how new Instagram was, because the sepia tone pictures were hot. So so now it's like I got to come up with like a little name for myself, because I'm branding my Instagram as a stay-at-home mom who's into fitness and just wants to help people. And so my first name was Jersey Mom Fit. And I was like, this is kind of cool, but it didn't really, I don't know, it wasn't really resonating with me, but I stuck with it for a couple months. And so all of a sudden, I started just getting the idea of doing makeup. And I was doing makeup tutorials on Instagram, and I was getting a lot of feedback on that, to the point where people were messaging me and saying, hey, can you come to my house and do my makeup? No lie, ready? I had this one girl message me, and she said, hey, would you be interested in doing a trial with me? I'm a bride, I'm getting married, and I really love your makeup looks. I say, sure, give me your address. It was the old address to my old house. It was really weird. I'm like walking into my old house, and I'm like, this is so bizarre, but it was a funny story. And so I started doing these makeup tutorials, or putting an outfit together for date night and stuff like that. So now it's like, okay, I'm talking about fitness, but now I'm talking about like the glam side of it. And I don't know how the heck I came up with it, but I was like, something about exercise and glam. And I thought, Lift and Glitz. And I was like, I like that. That's catchy. Let's do it. So I rebranded myself as Lift and Glitz and stuck with it from there. So fast forward, I'm doing my thing. And then there was something that wasn't completely fulfilling with online coaching. I needed that person-to-person interaction too. And I think I needed that because A, I started out as a Zumba instructor, so I would teach classes with people. And B, my old profession, I was a sales rep. I would cold call. I would go out and meet people and talk to them. And I was really used to that interaction, not online. So I was like, you know what? I need more. I need the next step. And the next step was getting my personal training certification, which I went for. And then I know too, being a stay-at-home mom, because that was kind of driving me crazy. I knew I need to get out. And so what I did was I started working literally 1 day a week. And it was a 45-minute drive to this fitness studio. And I didn't mind it because that was me time. So I would go, I would teach 1 day a week. It was on Wednesdays. And I would teach 3 classes in a row. And then I would drive home. And the way that my class built, just teaching 1 day a week, was insane. So again, here I am back to being in-person fitness instructor, and it's growing. My classes are growing. Everyone's coming in to see me, work out with me, and it was great. And so at the time, my boss was like, hey, what do you think about being a franchise guinea pig? I was like, well, what does that mean? What do you mean? She goes, would you like to open a studio under my name, this brand name, and open it near you? And I was like, okay. So The only thing was keeping me from doing that was the financial startup. And so I had a conversation with a family member, and we were just talking, and then the next day I get a phone call from that family member, and he's like, listen, do you really think you could do this? And I'm like, I think I can really do it. And he's like, okay, well, what do you need? What's the startup? And I was like, I think it's like 10K. And honestly, 10K for a startup business is kind of, I don't want to say unrealistic. It's definitely unrealistic in these days, but that's a very small investment. Now that I've been here the last 11 years in business, like that's a super, super small investment. So, call it an angel investor. I got the money, opened up, had this handbook saying, okay, this is how we do things. This is your point of sale system. This is how you're going to build your website. This is all the ways to structure how the business is ran. And I learned that. So now we're rocking and rolling. And I had some guidance, obviously from my business partner. And so I would say in about 3 or 4 months after opening, like we were in the green. We were doing really well. We were the first gym in the area to provide functional fitness. And it was really cool. And we didn't really promote ourselves as women only, but we naturally attracted just women. So fast forward, at that time, when I started the business, I was 31. And I went through some things. I went through my divorce. I got a divorce, and I was newly single, and kind of had to restart that way. And I think what was probably, now that I look back at it, which was kind of scary, is that I was in a relationship at 21, 22 years old, and now I'm 32, and now I'm a single mom, and now it's like a whole new world. And so what happened was I kind of was thrown off a little bit, went off schedule, had to figure out a new one, had to figure out a new routine. But at the same point in time, I was rebuilding myself as a different person, different, what's the word that I'm looking for? Different role in life. And unfortunately, and this is where we're going to hit a rebuild stage in my life that I have to talk about, that I really don't like talking about. And not a lot of people know this about me, especially the people part of my life now. I had gotten myself into an domestic violent relationship, abusive physically and mentally. And it was rough. It was rough for a year. And I'm thankful that I only went through it for a year, but it was a tough one. It was a point in my life where I was starting to lose a lot. I lost family. I lost friends. I was losing clients. Like, clients were catching on to what was going on, and they wanted no part of that, and I wouldn't either. I mean, we're a studio that's smaller, tighter knit. At that time, it was probably only 100, 150 clients, and so I started losing that. Income was getting lower. And during that time, while I was still in this terrible, terrible relationship, that's when the shift happened from the franchise to Lift and Glitz. And honestly, I didn't even know what I was going to call it, because now this is now going to be my own space, right? So now I have this opportunity to create what I want to create. And so when it came to becoming this new brand name, I'm like, what the heck am I going to call this studio? And everyone's like, are you kidding? Lift Glitz. You got to call it Lift Glitz. Like, that's what we know you for. That's what you started in. I was like, no, that sounds silly. That was just an Instagram handle. Like, I didn't take it seriously. And they're like, no, do it. So I was like, all right, why not? And I still wasn't even that confident in the name. And I think that has to do with being the age that I was at the time. I was 33, 34. My age, the terrible relationship I was in, not taking myself seriously, like all of that, I just still didn't have the confidence in myself. And so I called it Lift Glitz, and I'm still in this, it was a new beginning. It was amazing. It was awesome. And then, but I was still in this terrible, terrible relationship. And again, I gained my own entity, but I'm losing at the same time. And it was just such a cluster F. Like I didn't know what to make of it. But then luckily that year, it was 2019, in October, I finally left that relationship. I got out. And so I only bring this into my conversation because not only did I have to rebuild myself, but there's also a message to be told, or a story to be told, a message to be said that it does happen. A lot of people say to me, you, Rachel, out of all people, you let this person abuse you physically? You let someone hurt you? I did. And I don't try to figure out why, I try not to, I'm a different person now from that. That happened like 7 years ago, but it was a hardship. At the end of the day, it was a hardship, and I went through it, and a lot of women went through it. And so if you are going through it, I guess my message to you is, there's hope. You got to find it. You got to find the confidence in you, and you got to remember that that's not how life is meant to be lived. Don't settle on thinking this is going to be my life forever. And you got to find that power within you to end that. Figure it out. Call for help. I think the one person who was still involved in my life at that time was my mom. And I think that if it wasn't for her and like really being there for me and was a constant, I would have never pulled out of it. Anyway, so I got out of that relationship, and I was like, okay, it's time to rebuild. Time to get back to who Rachel is. We got Lift Glitz. We changed it a little bit, like from the old brand where like I'm kind of doing some new things. We're still doing functional training, but we added some machines to it. Like, okay, we're still doing my thing. But it still wasn't where it needed to be. It was still a business that was not performing well. But again, that does start with me too, because I wasn't taking myself serious enough. So now's my opportunity to rebuild, become a better mother, become a better business owner, all of that things that come along with being an entrepreneur. And so fast forward, we go from October 2019 to February 2020. And I was so focused on myself and rebuilding. I was just feeling better, feeling like myself again, and planned a girls' trip to Florida. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I haven't been on a trip in forever. Like, let's go. And had a great trip, and I come back, and in like, I think it was like in 3 or 4 days, it was all of a sudden, oh, you have to shut your business down. And I'm like, excuse me? What? Huh? Why am I shutting my business now? And it was because of COVID. And I was like, well, what the heck is COVID? What is going on? Like, that's how much of a rock I was under, because I was really, again, rebuilding myself. And so I'm like, okay, whatever this business is, fine. It's COVID. Okay, we'll open up in a week. And a week turned into 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into a month. A month turned into 2 months. And so now we're starting to go down that, I don't want to say depression slope, but more so like oh gosh, like I felt like I was kind of, I guess, spiraling in the sense of, and I think everybody went through this. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew when they were going back to work, who was going back to school, how are we going to operate? And I'm just like, what do I do? I guess we just start to act careless because there's nothing else to do. So structure out the door, routine out the door, all that work that I did for myself, rebuilding out the door. I was just floating around, having fun, drinking. I've gained probably 20 pounds in like a month or two, not even. And there was just no structure to my life. None at all. And so it was a tough time because I thought to myself, well, I mean, I'm either going to open or I'm not. Money wasn't coming in. Didn't know what to do. Thankfully, I had some really great OG clients who were like, listen, I'm still working. I'll still pay for my membership. Just hook me up when you open back up. And that kind of kept the business afloat. And I did. Like when we opened back up, they had a free membership for 5-6 months, whatever that was. And I would say I was lost. That's a great word to use. I was completely lost. And it had to be around April or June. No, I'm sorry. It had to be around May or June where I finally had enough with myself. Like I took a good look at myself in the mirror and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Rachel? Did you come this far to only come this far? Or are we going to do something about it? You know, you probably defeated one of the heaviest things that's ever happened to you, an abusive relationship. You got out of that. You survived. So are we going to snap out of it or not? It was like that. All right, it's time to kick myself in the ass and let's go. It's playtime's over. Let's get back to work. And so I started doing fitness classes outdoors. And that started in June. And it was something. It was something better than nothing. And so we started that and, you know, started the routine, started getting my kids, you know, back into their routine. And, you know, I wanted to just be a good example for them. It was important to me to be a good example to them and to not see their mom fall apart. So we started rebuilding. And honestly, this is another moment or pivot in my life where I met my husband. Well, he's my husband now, but I got into a new relationship and it was beginning stages of it. And, you know, it was scary, but, you know, I just knew there was something different about this person. And it's really important, this part of the story, because now 7 years later, it is so important to have a supportive partner, but we'll get into that in a second. So I started dating this new guy. I finally was able to open the gym. We're starting to rebuild. Oh crap, this is a really good moment. Sorry. All right, so let's rewind really quick. So I'm doing these outdoor classes, and then we finally get the call that gyms are allowed to open their doors, because we were the first ones to shut down and we were the last ones to be able to open back up, because there were so many conspiracy theories about how COVID was spread. And one of the things that they would say was, oh, COVID can be spread through sweat, right? So gyms were like really at the bottom of the totem pole when it came to opening back up. But we were open. I think we opened end of June or July. And so when I tell you, first of all, gyms, there was a lot of restrictions for gyms. You couldn't just open up. There was like a limit to how many people were allowed in your facility, and you could not do classes and you could not have open gym. And the only thing that you were allowed to do was private training. And when I tell you, it was like a gold rush. The phone wouldn't stop ringing. You specialize in personal training? I need to get in there for personal training. What are your rates? I don't care how much it is. I need to start working out. I've never done personal training in my life. I'm used to going to big box gyms, but I don't care. I need to work out. Get me in there. And we got so lucky. So we were one of the only gyms in the area that was able to really produce because we were known for personal training. And so, boom, first month, we were doing so well. But again, like I said, there was a lot of restrictions. So it taught me a lot as a business owner. It gave me structure. It taught me how to slow down and to really organize the business and to be more disciplined with it. And discipline as a business owner, having order like that is really, really important. It's very important. And I think that now that I was a little bit older, I was about 5-6 years in business now, I understood it at a different level. So I'm like, okay, like I get it now. It's important to have rules. It's important to have structure. It's not about just coming in, teaching class and willy-nilly and playing guessing games. No, you have to have a plan. So I have to say, opening up after COVID really taught me how to slow down and plan those things out. So then all of a sudden, okay, now we can bring more people into the gym, but we have to be 6 feet apart. Small group, no more than 6 people. I think they actually put a number on it. Jersey put a number on it where it was no more than 6 people are allowed in a class or something like that. Perfect. Then the phone started ringing even more. I'm ready to come back. I need to take a class. And it just started growing. And it was amazing. So business is growing, business is getting better. But this is when I'm like, okay, things are going really well. And, but I just feel like something is missing. I feel like there's more to this. So I started doing my research, and I mean, while business was getting better, I still, I'm behind on payments on things too. Like I'm behind on my rent. I'm behind on my mortgage. I'm behind on bills. I'm like, we're doing better, but we're not doing great. And also in the fitness industry, other businesses are evolving. People are opening. People are adding new things. And so what was great for us 6 years ago, like I need to evolve the business. This business needs to be better. But I don't have the money to do it. And I don't want to ask anyone for money either. I'm the type of person where I have to be self-sufficient. It doesn't sit right with me to ask for help, which is terrible, but it's the truth. Because you don't learn that way. You honestly don't learn that way when you don't ask for help. So I did a lot of research. And at the time, because small businesses were closed for so long, there was a lot of money out there. And I started talking to people and signing up for email blasts. And I got this email of a business loan. And it was perfect. It was a 30-year loan at like 3%. And so for those of you who don't really know that end of business, that's an extremely amazing loan. Will I be paying for it the rest of my life? Probably. But at 3%, why not? Businesses should always have some sort of little debt like that. But that's further down the line that we could talk about that. And so this is where partnership comes in. And this is where when you're starting something big, you need to have the right person behind you. You need to have someone of amazing influence behind you. And when I mean influence, I think for women, that means security. So my husband, we weren't married yet, I show him this and I said, look at this loan. Look what I got approved for. This is how much I could take. He goes, Rachel, take it all. And I'm like, I can't do that. that. I can't take it all. That's scary. I can't take a leap of faith like that. I've already just we're doing better, but we're not doing great. And Rachel, take the whole thing. Because guess what? This opens a lot of doors for you. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm doing it. And so I take this loan out. And why did I take it out? For a lot of reasons. One is to help pay off any debt I had. Two, from COVID. Two was to rebuild again. So if I said, if I'm going to use this money, if I'm going to take this money, I'm going to use it and I'm going to go balls to the wall. And it's like, this is it. This is going to be my make or break moment. I'm going to build a studio that I love, that I'm proud of, that the clients are going to love. I'm just going for it. And I did. And I built this model that was insane. And it took a long time to get through. It took almost 2 years to redesign it. So we went from franchise to Lift and Glitz in the beginning, and I brought in new machines and remodeled it a little bit with the little money that I had. And then now, number 3, I've now built a model that is just a powerhouse. And I felt it in my gut. Like, I knew that the classes were great, but the look had to go with the classes, like the feel of it. So when you step into the studio, you're like, yep, this is where I want to be. And so I did it. I just did it. But you know what? I got to tell you, like, if it wasn't for my partner who gave me the confidence to just do it, I would have never done it. I know I would have never taken that risk. And that's where I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, that it's so important to have that person who you feel most secure with, because they're going to push you beyond your comfort level, beyond your comfort zone. And so now we rebuild. We're getting some amazing, we just start climbing. Our business is just starting to take off. And then I'm like, okay, well, what's the next step? What's the next step for the studio? And it wasn't necessarily the studio, it was for me. So I need to be out in the community more. And so I get out and I start networking. I start meeting new people. And it wasn't, I didn't network a lot, but some. But there was one pivotal moment where the city of where Lift Glitz Training Studio is located in, they had a big town meeting for small businesses. And they're like, we want, small businesses to come together. And we started the Northfield Business Association. And they're like, who wants to be the vice president? And I was like, me? I don't know. And I just took that leap of faith too. And so I realized that it's not just about sitting in my own 4 walls and creating a studio. It's about also getting out there into the community too in different ways. So then I started networking. So now here comes the growth as an entrepreneur. And so it's not just building the business. Now the business is doing well, but now it's like, okay, now I'm out there meeting people. And now I'm the vice president of this business association. And I'm flourishing as an individual. And so I'm like, this feels good. This feels great. And now we're talking, listen, I'm 41 now, but I'm like about 38, 39. And I'm like, here comes the confidence. Like, oh, this is what it feels like. I mean, I was giving seminars on what the 5 best practices for your business on social media. I was hosting these events inside my studio. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand my place. I'm starting to understand who I am as an individual and what I can do for the community, for female entrepreneurs, for women getting started in health and fitness, whatever it might be. Like, I honestly feel like I'm starting to come into this leadership role. And even within my own staff, I feel like I'm coming into this leadership role. So I, stopped teaching classes. I know I stopped teaching classes probably about 4 years ago. And listen, I dip in every once in a while? Yeah, only when they need me. But now I just fully run and operate my business. And now it's like I've kind of slid into this role as well as mentoring my staff, especially, some of my managers, because they're like, I want to climb the ranks too. I want to grow within this business. Teach me more. And I'm like, I never thought that 24-year-old Rachel working for the newspaper would now have an amazing business, this amazing brick and mortar, and like teaching people along the way, being a person that people look up to. It's really weird. Like I'm if you know me, I'm a very humble person, but at the same point in time, like I just know that I do have an influence on women, especially women who are just getting started. And so that takes me to why I'm starting this podcast, because I think it's important to not only to teach, to not only, show people like, yeah, this is where I'm at, but also the things it takes to get there, and also the hardships and the good times and the bad times and the hard times and the sad times. And you know what? Knowledge is meant to be shared. It's not meant to be withheld. And so, I'm still out there in the field. I'm networking. I'm meeting business owners. I feature pop-ups, inside my studio for women who are getting started with their business, or maybe they don't have a brick and mortar and they're just trying every which way possible to get in touch with the community. Like I bring women in to do that. And I see a lot of the times women will give up on themselves so quickly. Like they think they have this, and they have this amazing idea, but when the tough gets hard or the hard gets like they just give up. And here's the thing is that I want to show you, I want to help, I want to give that message that when you're ready to give up, you just can't. There's resources out there. There's people out there. You got to find that within you to keep going. And I think that when I get into those slumps, one of the things that I personally do is I listen to podcasts, or I'll listen to a story, or I don't read because reading puts me to sleep, honestly, but I like to listen. And that's how I'm influenced. And I feel like this is the perfect part. I want to play that part. And so, and I forgot to mention a very big part of this is that now we went from one location to two. And so we're only going to continue to grow. And I want to continue to grow. And I want to continue to put the message out there, and not just about health and fitness, but for women in general. So at the end of the day, right, you have this dream and it's attainable, but sometimes we don't know how to get there. And I didn't know how to get there. I didn't even know I was going to walk into this dream. But it grew, and it took 11 years. It took over a decade. And here I am. Back to Stockton Rachel and learning this and actually living like this is like my dream fun thing to do. And I'm back to that. I just can't believe it. It blows my mind. But I'm also here to motivate and inspire and empower. So what can you expect from this podcast? You can expect things like connection, motivation, fitness tips, and listen, again, just having a dream and making that dream become a reality. So I hope that you guys tune in again, and I plan on giving you guys some amazing content where you can take it and you can run with it. So I need you to do me a favor. Actually, do yourself a favor. click subscribe, and that way you'll get the notification when our next episode uploads, so that we don't have to skip a beat, that you can continue to learn and feel motivated and kick ass in whatever it is that you're trying to do. And remember, lift your strength and glitz your life.